Come on. Okay. Is it? Yeah, it's working. So welcome again. My name is Tahsin. I work for Novoda, and I'm also one of the Google developer experts on Android. And I will talk about Android things today. The talk will be rather simple. I will have some code as well, and I have this Intel Edison device that is now blinking. So all we are going to do is blinking this thing. Yeah, with the yeah. So yeah, Android things. This is the main image at their website. So it's all connected devices and really easy to use, and you have the power of Android. So like with the IoT, like it's really a hype word, and this smart devices, and we like this has been in our lives for a long time. But when people like especially Kickstarter projects talk about smart something, it's not usually even connected to the internet sometimes. Yeah, but like with Android things, it has to be. And all of the devices right now has internet connectivity, which is really good. So let's look at the software a little bit. So you have with the Android things, you have the Android ecosystem. Who are Android developers here? Oh yeah, of course. Yeah. So with it's just an Android device. So I will do ADB devices, and this is listed as a device there. It just has additional APIs for IoT, which includes low-level APIs, and on top it has some driver APIs, which they also accept open source contributions. So they have a central repository with bunch of drivers, which essentially you can do it yourself with the low-level APIs as well. It's not actually really hard, but they have some almost utility libraries, like they call drivers, which like you can use for buttons controlling like blinking the light as well. Yeah. The one nice thing that was not available in IoT world is the software updates. So this includes like the Android things will have Google's auto update, and it will be controlled by Google. And I think like they will have their control on this, and let's see how it goes. That's one of the question marks in people's minds. But what we were going to have is that without any interaction, as long as it is connected to the internet, the operating system will update. This will include any security updates as well, and they will have not right now. They don't have it right now, but they will have some almost like a Play Store, but without any interaction. Your applications also will be updated automatically as long as there's internet. So this is a diagram, very simple one actually. The bottom part is the Android, and we have the Java APIs. The dark one is the Google services, and they have the Google Play services as well inside, and they have the support library special for the Android things devices. And on top, the apps are sitting. So let's look at some details. So we have Android Studio. It's actually really good, IntelliJ, lots of crazy shortcuts, and yeah, we all have experience with it, which is actually for us very good. So the device has Nougat API level 24, which is really good in my sample application as well. I enabled Jack compiler with Java 8 support, so you have the full Java 8 for, like, you can have minimum SDK 24 as well if you want to, which is really cool. Yeah, exactly. So, and we have all the libraries we have for Android and Java, and it's also like with Gradle, easy to add dependencies. RxJava, you can use Kotlin as well. Yeah. So, and a pro, but it's a controversial, you have the Google APIs as well, which we will go over, which can be very handy. Yeah, let's look at some cons. So we have Java versus Python, because I put this because in the IoT world it's mostly Python and some Arduino C code. I don't know what do we call that. It's based on C. So like all the documentation you have, tutorials are mostly on Python, or like for Raspberry Pi, or like for like you can, oops, you can, is it broken? So you can, it's not super hard to modify or like rewrite anything you find a driver, or like, yeah, it's not super hard, but it's, yeah, let's see if it will be as good as Python community in the future. Yeah, as I said, it's most platforms and the knowledge around the world is around Linux. So like the other disadvantage is not, it's not really fully open. It's now called developer preview. It's not open source. They don't have anything mentioned if they are going to make it open source or not. I guess they may not. It's similar to Android Wear as well, because they want to have control over it basically. And the support library is the first support library that is not open source as well, which is a little bit weird. So the support library only has the stub methods with runtime exceptions inside. So yeah, no source code. It's not even obfuscated. The code is living in the operating system itself. So another interesting, like, it's sometimes hard to, yeah, you have activity basically, and it's sometimes weird to work with activity because you don't have any screen. So you have on create, but it's not like a lifecycle event. You don't have on pause, but it's there. If you implement it, it will not be called. In case of a crash or anything, on destroy will be called on pause as well. But like that's almost the only case. But they say, like, I guess they could introduce another class just for Android things, which might specifically designed for Android things. That would be awesome. But their reasoning is that the input events, like in the Android operating system, the input events and all the interactions, motion events are only delivered to the foreground application. So like when you have the activity as a foreground, it's easier. When you start a server or service which will not be visible, then they have to do more basically. So let's briefly look at the hardware. So they released it with these support with these 3 devices: Intel Edison, the Raspberry Pi 3, and this not a big deal one. It's Nico something. Yeah. Anyway, okay, from NXP. Yeah. Do you have it, that, Hassan? Yeah. So yeah, in the future in the website they are like, they say 2 devices is coming soon, and in the future when they release the final thing, they will have an option for companies to commercially use it for their devices. Yeah. So yeah, exactly. So as like, just like if you guys have any IoT experience, I personally did have some in the past, but not very much actually. But this is now like I am getting into it more with the help of Android. But these are like the standard protocols that you have with a Linux and Raspberry Pi, and also with Arduino as well. So these are all supported, and then they have their own APIs to interact with them, like the support library that I mentioned. So the APIs are available in the device and provided you with the support library. Let's briefly look at the device setup. It was pretty straightforward for me. I have the Intel Edison device, so you download the, like if you guys ever flashed some Nexus factory images, it's the same basically. The first of all, you need to flash the bootloader though, because this fast boot protocol, I don't know if it's a protocol, whatever, it works through the bootloader, like special Android bootloader on the device, which is available on every Android devices, but these devices not they don't come with Android, whereas Raspberry Pi, for example, yeah, Intel Edison as well. It comes with Linux inside. So for every chip, for example, for this, Intel has its own software to first flash the bootloader, and then you call these 3, and that's it. So then it boots for the first time. Yeah, so for each device, the instructions is a little bit different, but they're almost the same. Instructions are there if you want to have a look later. So then first thing they mention, and logical thing to do, I did this here as well. You call this pretty straightforward to connect to Wi-Fi. I'm not sure if this is available on Android devices. It's a service that you start, but can be a special service for Android things. Like it's definitely from Play Services or something, because it starts with from Google. Yeah, then if you look at the Logcat, you will see that the log messages, if it fails, it gives you information there, and then you can connect to the device with ADB shell, and then you have the shell of the device. You can ping and continue. And then when you have the IP, and also you can connect, you can disconnect the USB cable, and then you can call ADB connect with the IP address. So let's continue with the cloud connectivity. So today I will go over what I have done with Firebase. It was pretty straightforward and easy. So I will show how easy it is, but like you have all the networking capabilities as well as the OKHTTP and RxJava to do the network operations yourself. So the thing I like is that before, when I was working with Python in a Raspberry Pi, I was doing everything manually. Of course, it's easy to do network operations in Python. It's a couple of lines of code to request a get or a put. It's easier than Java maybe, but to have cloud connectivity with a server, like these new cool platforms like Firebase or like this real-time databases, they don't have necessarily Python SDKs. So I found that it's actually harder, and what you can have is that you can have your own server, which makes it complicated. But here, it's super easy to integrate with Firebase, which like for especially I think for hackathons or like some hacking, it is super easy. So like I knew about this, but I didn't use before. But when I was thinking about Android things, I remembered this somehow and tried it. It worked pretty well. There is this Firebase tool in Android Studio, and it does very good setup for you. So we will go over it very soon. So here are the Firebase and Google Play Services APIs that are available. We have the database, of course, and analytics, crash reporting are available. Notifications my sample works through FCM notifications. We will see that integration. And remote config is can be cool for IoT devices, so you can remotely change its behavior using your analytics data or like manually depending on some data or some with some randomness. Basically, you can do A/B testing on this thing. And there is this nearby API, and there was this guy using nearby API to connect to a PlayStation controller on Twitter. He was using the nearby API. It's also a really cool API to use with IoT devices, even though they may not have a Bluetooth. The nearby API works with a couple of things like Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, and the microphone as well. Yeah, I think it's a very good possibility, and the fit as well. Yeah, maybe step counting or whatever. Yeah. So these APIs are not available. I first think that authentication might be available, but it's not. These are mostly the APIs that require UI and authentication. Yes, but some of the authentication APIs like custom authentication and anonymous authentication is a very cool feature of Firebase. They don't require any UI actually, but they are not supported. Anonymous authentication could be very cool. Yeah, of course, AdMob. It would be really funny to have advertisement on the devices. Yeah, maps also not available. Of course. Huh? So location is like there's a couple more. They didn't fit the flight. So location APIs are available. So geofence also are available. So let's do some coding. So I will show the code as well, but since it is simple enough, I put all the things in the slides. So this is, first of all, before starting with the Firebase integration, I will go over what a typical, like a sample initial Android Things project looks like. Actually, it's super simple. So what you have to do is you just need to have this category, IoT launcher. IoT launcher. So this is the activity that will be automatically started by the system. So you may not have two activities with this category, but actually technically you can, but only one of them will be. I couldn't find. I didn't investigate. I can install, and the documentation says you cannot install, but it's just, yeah, it is just APK being installed, so there is no limitation. But I think only one of them will work because only one of them will be on the foreground of the system. So, and then you have this dependency. It is just a provided dependency. No, with the provided, uh, the APIs will be on your class path, and you will be able to use the APIs just like Android.jar. You will be able to use them, but they will not be included in your APK artifact. But when you call those APIs, they will be available on the device. So that means also that if you call those in an Android, like normally, if you install this APK to your Android device, then it will crash basically. So there is a uses feature that you can put in your Android manifest, then that will disable possible installations. But if you have guards around your calls as well, so you can say use this feature required false, then the same APK can be installed on your phones and also in those devices. That's also possible to have one APK to do the same thing. Yeah. So as you can see, this is the LED blinking. So interestingly, this Intel Edison device has a LED on it. The others don't. With a Raspberry Pi, you have to connect your own LED. So this is very handy. In fact, in the Intel Edison, in the getting started code, with Intel Edison by default, when you purchase, you can have either Arduino or a Linux inside, so it can act as an Arduino as well. So the first examples are the blinking LED as well. Yeah. So this is basically a GPIO port, general port purpose input output. So we will, so what's interesting is that this was disabled by default, and interestingly, I haven't done it before actually. Just when I came here, I sent push notification to enable the blinking light, but it didn't work because the device didn't have the internet connectivity. So I run this adb shell command, and just after I enabled it, the push notification came, like without me doing anything. It just worked, which was really great to see just here. So, as I said, the system will enable will create the activity, but just to keep the activity simpler, and I created this class called blinking LED, which will be self-contained, and its job will be to control the LEDs, and then the activity code will not include any low-level GPIO code. So when we create, I have this static factory method on the class. Then I need the peripheral manager service that you can get from the support library. Then I have a handler. So here, like, I will do some, for the blinking LED, I will do some timings, but like it would be much more simpler with RxJava, but I am here using the handler. So first of all, I am trying to open a port which is defined as a constant. That is the 13th port. If you look at the Edison's documentation, it will say that this LED is the 13th I/O port. So we open the GPIO, and it will give us an instance of the GPIO class. And I found it is an interesting API. It's Android. They could do anything they want, but it's like Android engineers, I think, again. So you set the direction, which is makes sense. So you can have initially high or low, and that means like initial value of the I/O port, and you have the active type, which is high, like this is just there's a method called setActive. So this is what you want to happen when you call setActive true. So you can have the reverse behavior as well. So when it is true, it will be high, which will light the LED. So, and the last thing I want to mention is the IO exception. When the open fails, it throws an IO exception. I just forward the exception here to handle in the activity, because I don't know what to do here if I cannot open the IO port. I cannot create the instance of this class. So I have this set blinking method which gets a Boolean value. If it is true, I run this repeating command to repeat blinking, and if it is false, I first set active false to make sure that we close the we turn off the LED, and I remove the handler callback. And the repeat command looks like this. I have the toggle method call, and then I call myself again after 1 second with the handler, using the handler. So if, like, pretty straightforward here. Oops, forgot about the arrows. So here I have the toggle method, which just calls the set active with the with its reverse, and then here there is this, again, the GPIO class. We call just set value. It accepts Boolean. So yeah, this will enable or disable the LED. But here as well, even though you have the GPIO instance, since this is an IO operation on the device, it may fail. But here I just ignore, but hoping that it will be successful in the next handler code, post. But I'm not sure what is the best practice if this fails, personally, to be honest. So yeah, this is very simple. First I did this without the GCM integration, and it was just blinking, and I decided to integrate notifications so that I can enable and disable. So I could also use the Firebase real-time database to do this, but I decided maybe it will be easier with FCM, and one benefit is that with FCM also, with FCM also, it works, basically just like your Android, just like the notifications on your Android phone. When you don't have internet connection, after you have the connection, the notification will come automatically, or even though if your application is closed or crashed or whatever, it's not even like something happened, then the notification will arrive. So I thought, that will be the safest way. And so what is good about FCM on top of GCM is that, I don't know if you can use GCM on this, but in the Firebase console, you can use the analytics data of the devices you have on the console. So you can also, devices can subscribe and tell things about them, like some almost like the topic API actually. So depending on, imagine you have multiple devices, so you can categorize your devices and send different data to different devices. Or you can, if you have the IDs, you can also send the data to a single or like specific devices. That is like the options, and I think it's really powerful. So this is the Firebase Assistant that I mentioned in the Android Studio. Basically, I didn't follow any tutorial, and to be honest, this was the first time I saw this screen at Google I/O, and this was the first time I opened the screen. And I clicked on the cloud messaging. I saw this. I clicked connect to Firebase, and it opens your Chrome or whatever default browser you have, and then it asks for permission. Like, it has a huge list of permissions, and you allow, and then Android Studio detects it and then continues its work. And it's always paying registering, like before Firebase as well, with the Google console and the GCM. It's always paying to register your SHA-1 key with the, like from your key store, right? So this is actually an automated process, and I don't know why the documentation still tells you to manually put your SHA-1 key, but this works pretty good. And you click this, and yeah, basically this dialog, actually the SHA-1 registration happens before at FCM. It happens when you connect to Firebase. But yeah, here you can choose your existing projects and you can create a new project. What is interesting is there is this warning. It will say Firebase Analytics will be enabled by default and will enhance, of course, your features and everything. You will be great with the.
But you can disable Firebase.
Huh?
You can disable Firebase
Yeah.
Analytics.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, it says learn more. I think there is a way to disable it. So after that, this Google Services JSON will be automatically put on your project, and it's also the documentation doesn't say anything about putting this into the version control, and lots of people are putting it, but I don't think it's a good idea. After that, actually, this is after we click the Add FCM button. So the second step, it tells you what it is going to do. Like it's the things you find in the documentation, not a big deal. But there's again a warning. It says it will add the core library, which is actually analytics. So yeah. So I had experience with GCM before. It was rather much more complicated. Now with FCM, it is you add this intent filter. It is also mentioned in that Firebase Assistant. Just this service, and then with this intent filter, and then in your service, what I'm going to do is I will start the activity again. So first of all, I have this remote message object which has the FCM data. It is really simple, dumb. I have the lights on key, which is either string true or false, because it's a map from string to string. So you have all strings. So I compare it with true, and if it is true, I will turn on the lights. If it is anything else, I will turn off. So I have this clear top, because I thought about different things, but this was the easiest. Since I have only one activity open, with this flag it will send the new intent to the already open activity in the foreground. It will not create additional activity, which is good because I have my GPIO set up. I have my blinkinglet object created there as well. So here is my activity. So I have this start activity will call a method called on new intent in the activity, and there I will call this handle intent method. So I have my intent here. So yeah, it's rather simple. I have the intent. I look at the Boolean field. If it is true, I pass it. Like whatever value it is, I pass it. So that will start its job. And on destroy, I call the destroy method, and yeah, we will see what it does. So, yeah. So and the blinkinglet class, I create this in onCreate. So as long as I have the activity, I will have this object created. Yeah, that's it. But let's see some. Yeah, let's see how it works a little bit. Do I have time? Yeah. So first of all, like we have the blinking LED here. I will just show the notification integration. So I have this notifications. I have this. There is this nice convenience duplicate. So this message text is not used in the device because this is the notification displayed on your phone if you send to F1. So the lights is running. I will, like, this is false. I will send this and let's see. Yeah. No? Okay. It's gone. Yeah, I blame internet. But like it's a super simple demo. And the same thing with the true value. If I send this, it will, yeah, start. Yeah, it's pretty much simple, and if you where is my Android seat now? So presentation. I wish I have the same here as well. Yeah. So let's quickly go over. I already showed it, but yeah. Here is my manifest. It's pretty simple. Here is the uses. Oh, it's not uses feature. It's uses library. Yeah. So this is required right now. And if I go here, it's like this. And if I go to the main activity, it's like in onCreate. Oh, I have Timber as well, which is really good. So I'm trying to create the blinking LED. If it throws an IO exception, I don't know what to do. I just crash. I don't know what is the best practice here as well. But for this demo, I think for this demo I have the FCM integration, even though it crashes. A push notification should be able to create the activity again. Yeah, so here, handle intent, my activity is rather simple. And here, the things that here on this drive, I have the close as well. Here also I set the value to 0, to false, to make sure that it is turned off. And then I try to close if my application crashes or whatever. Because if you don't close, actually, like, it's not smart enough to understand that this activity opened it. If you don't close it, nobody can open it again. So yeah, you have to reset the device. But it's pretty simple to disable that loophole. Thank you for listening. And my last slide is the resources. Come on. Why is this still here? Yeah, so this is the source code, and yeah, I will share the link to the presentation as well. Thank you.
Thank you for presentation. I have a few questions. First of all, I'm not sure if I understood how you start the app. You deploy the app and it's automatically on, it spins.
Yeah.
What happens if some exception happens, the application is crashed? Will it resurrect automatically again, or?
That Yeah, it's not in the documentation. I could have tested, but I don't know. That's why I used FCM, but yeah, I don't know if yes.
I think yes.
The documentation just says that the activity will be started on boot, but it doesn't say it will automatically be created. But that would be the logical thing to do.
Yeah.
But it can be a problem if
It's not a
application
one
is really shitty and it continues crashing and it starts again and continues crashing, and we can go into that. Another question on top of that, for example, with FCM on the phones, it makes a difference if the application is in the foreground or background. The processing is different. In one case, you have to process it in one message received. In another, it shows the notification and everything else. Do you know what's the difference, how it handles here? Because we're not sure how foreground background works on this thing.
Well, it's always.
So it's supposed to be always foreground, but the thing is, there's two parts of the FCM. There's on the phones, there's this part that shows the UI. I believe that's the difference that you are talking about. So that is not even available. So it's always a it is called
Since
notifications.
There is no UI, it will not get into this state, right?
So basically, it's called Firebase notifications versus Firebase FCM. So yeah, this only has FCM. It doesn't have this UI thingy. Yeah. So you always have the same callback.
And last question, since these GPO ports, basically they are just the flip-flops. You open connection to it, set different states, and that's it. How multiple application access to the GPO ports? For example, you said you open the GPO port on the specific number or address, you keep it until you close it. So, okay, you turn on that light, that's cool. But what if another application would like to do something else with that light? How that would work?
Yeah, I think it's
There's no other application.
Yeah.
Only one application being foreground.
I mean,
so
technically,
just one application can spin on that device, and that's it.
Yeah, but I mean, technically, you can have.
If there's only one port, then only one instance can access that, and if it's locked, then you have to release it to use it again.
Yeah, but isn't it the same for Linux on Raspberry Pi or any Arduino? Yeah.
Just
if you open it, if somebody opens it, no, but like it's a hardware.
My question was more in the direction: do we need to implement this mechanism of waiting, synchronizing on that port, or it's somehow handled by automatically? Like the whole application will be frozen until it's ready.
Yeah.
You can have like different ports, like unless you have like different ports, you cannot really use them. So like every port, like be it even Wi-Fi or anything that is available, Bluetooth, Wi-Fi, anything, it could be accessed and locked by one instance. And if you need like you could have multiple LED ports or dividers and adapters and stuff like that. But once if you start using it, then you have to release it for someone else to use it, or you cannot.
Yeah. But potentially it can have multiple APK, multiple applications installed, even though they don't have activity in the foreground. They may work around using services since they are not in the foreground. They may be losing something, but they cannot access the GPIO port. But the thing is, their focus is not that use case. Their focus is like, for example, a commercialized application that is producing thousands of devices and nobody can access it, so only one application is running. That's their focus.
Same here. We actually looked at it, and interestingly, Windows 10 IoT has the exact same approach. One app, always foreground, restarting it. And I had a question, why do you, like it feels weird to really do an activity? Did you try to put all your code into the application and have a custom application? Would that probably work as well, right?
I think so. But you need activity anyway.
And then one remark, I don't know if the Edison has a display out, but if you have a Raspberry Pi, you can actually show something on the screen and connect to HDMI and
this one with Linux as well, it doesn't support like the display out. Like you can of course have dumb Nokia screens, but
we actually took our app, put it on it worked, but this thing doesn't support Bluetooth, so we pitched it. But again, if you have an app, you put it on there, it works.
It's not now, but I hope I think it will support Bluetooth. Yeah.
But you can actually attach those on the Edison because even with Github, you could actually get your own Wi-Fi adapter, whatever, and even the Bluetooth. It's just different components, and you try to like plug them in, and then you have a new port.
We wanted native Bluetooth support.
Yeah.
Because like the Raspberry Pi 3 has a Bluetooth
Okay,
on it.
it doesn't ship with it, so.
I think also.
Device is not there.
I'm not sure, but if you know, like, correct me if I'm wrong, but the first, like, it will support in the future, but the first developer preview also doesn't support USB APIs. So, for example, USB camera, USB Bluetooth, they are not working.
Like Intel ships like a kit which has like IoT kit,
Okay.
and they ship all of them along with either Edison or the latest.
And it connects with USB.
Others, which are all like attachment, basically extensions.
Pay more to get a module.
Yeah, it's not much if you look at it. The prices like they're very less actually.
Dirk, wolltest du nicht?
I have a question.
Have you looked into the WiFi protocol? As far as I understood, that's the way to communicate between Android things and other Android devices, not FCM.
It still has the developer documentation and the specification that is like really old. They didn't release yet. It will be. Am I right? Yeah, I think.
That's what I'm asking.
Yeah. I thought you meant. Yeah, it's not released yet as well. Like just like this preview support library, they will either in the next version or as a separate dependency, they will release a library for Vue, as far as I heard.
Okay, if nobody else is going then. What about support with BeagleBone? Because I didn't see that, and it's one of the popular distributions and Linux based, and they also ported, I think, Android before. So.
Yeah, actually, it's like Raspberry Pi is the most popular, I guess, and the funny thing is that Raspberry Pi itself did not support Android really well, but now it's quite good. Yeah, I didn't know. I don't know. Yeah, there's no mention of BeagleBone. Yeah. I hope it will be more open in the future.
So, any more questions?
Cool.
Then, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Alright, and that's it for today. So thanks to all of our speakers, thanks to you for being here, and it would be really nice if you help a little bit clean up. So the first step is, before you get up, grab your bottles. That's a very important step. Falco, did you hear me? No. Bottles? Yes. Brilliant, it's important. And then once that's done, if you stack up the chairs and bring it up front, that would be really nice.
Remind them about.
Yes, and tomorrow is Thursday, and hopefully you paid attention at the beginning. That's the Android Recreational Tinkering Day. So if you want to participate tomorrow at 8 p.m. At Logcat, but all the events are on our webpage. See you tomorrow or